What's going on, YouTube? Another day, another quick video here, because not a whole lot going on, honestly. The big news that I thought was gonna be the interesting topic for the day, the hurricane that hit Florida. Honestly, in all reality, in a great way, turned out to be not that bad. Honestly, overall, they were expecting it to be like there was all this talk about it. It was a Category 5 as it was coming in towards the coast, and all these people worried about it. All the meteorologists and all the news people are tripping out, saying like this is one of the biggest storms we've ever seen. This is like, I think I saw somewhere they're like, this is approaching the theoretical limit of how bad a hurricane can get in this region and all this stuff. And then it kind of petered out before it actually hit Florida. So hey, that's good news, honestly. Like, of course, I don't want anybody's house and their life to get destroyed just to have some interesting news, I guess, or whatever. But that's good news that it died down and I think it hit Florida at like a Category 3, and now it's already been degraded to like Category 1. I mean, there was still some destruction and flooding and all the other stuff that would come with it, but not nearly as bad as what they had predicted at one point. No 15-foot storm surge and all that. I'm sure there's plenty of people's homes that are still basically ruined from flooding and things, but all around, I'd say about as good of an outcome as you could get for a hurricane hitting the coast. Supposedly, there's another one right behind it, maybe forming up right now, so that's not great. And maybe that one will end up being the same way, where it's like they're hyping it up to be the worst hurricane of all time, and hopefully it does the same thing and dies off. But I don't know. That's sensationalized shit where all the news people or anybody who would talk about this is always going to like hype it up into the stratosphere about how bad it's going to be and how awful things are going to get and how it's the worst one ever. This is so crazy to watch. And then I don't know if that destroys their credibility, because like it's kind of like a running joke that meteorologists and things are not reliable. You're trying to predict something that's too complex. We're not super good at it yet. I mean, they're decent at it, but obviously they're not perfect. So turns out it wasn't that bad. All good news, especially for the people of Florida. I mean, if they told me a Category 1 hurricane was hitting my house, I'd be worried about it. I don't need no Category 5. So yeah, that's good stuff. We got some inflation data today. The headline inflation was actually, we're still headed on the right trend. We're like 2.4%, and then core, which is the one I think they consider more important to them, the one that doesn't have food or energy prices, and it was like 3.3, which actually ticked up a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I know generally from what I've understood, listening to some information on it, is that Fed's looking at probably another 0.25 cut this month, and then another 0.25 next month. And I don't know. I've said it a million times. We got to wait and just see how it plays out. It's a fucking broken record over here. It's all just going to take time. It's going to take more time to see what happens. I've been saying it since the beginning. We got to wait for this election to get over with. And that's coming up right around the corner. So I don't think we have to wait much longer to see where this heads. We'll get at least a general direction out of that. But speaking of election, I don't know if you've been paying any attention to it, but this race is tighter than hell. So they, I think at the very beginning when they switched Biden out for Kamala, she was way ahead, and things, as far as I can tell from what I can see, have evened up quite a bit. So on her end, I think that's bad news, because I think she was hoping that lead and that excitement would just last for a couple months, but it's so crazy, and like, especially modern day where like everything's instant internet news and everything. It's like here one day, gone the next. Like it's just a constant cycle of just, you're getting fed so much information that nothing really lasts, nothing holds. So it'll come down right to the wire, I think, is my anticipation. We're not gonna know until the fat lady sings on this one. Like, just gotta wait. Like I said, you don't have to wait much longer, because we're only, I think, is it November 15th is the election day. So I mean, we're at like 25 days or something like that, I think. 25 days out. I might be wrong about that. But it's coming up fast. It'll be here before you know it, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of new crazy shit happening between now and then. I mean, like I said, we got maybe another hurricane. We got financial news left and right. We got two major wars going on right now. There's plenty of room for October surprise type shit to go down. But overall, the one nugget I took from what I was listening to earlier was basically that in all the swing states, which is basically what the election comes down to every year, it's like independent voters and like which way the swing states go. Ohio used to be a swing state, but I don't think it has been in the last two elections. I think the last two elections it's went Republican both times, but swing states are like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada. What were the other ones? I'm blanking. There's a couple more, maybe Wisconsin. And depending on which way those go, normally that decides the election one way or the other. And what I was listening to was that Kamala and Trump are basically tied in Michigan. They were focusing on Michigan for this one. Basically tied in Michigan, and Trump won Michigan in 2016, and she was beating him in the polls by 7%. And then Biden beat Trump, and he was beating Trump in the polls by like 6% in 2020. So if they're even in the polls, in theory, that means that's an easy dub for Trump. So that'll be weird to see. If it's close, I think Trump wins. I don't know. Normally the elections, whether you like it or not, the way our election system is set up, I don't mind it at all. I think that's the proper way. That's the way they meant to set it up. But you'll see people bitching on Twitter about it, that you don't necessarily have to win the popular vote to win the presidency. And the way the Electoral College ends up shaking out, you can lose the popular vote and still win the presidency. So if it's even, I think Trump wins, because the last couple times we've done this, I think they talked about 2022, but that wasn't a presidential election. That's a little bit of an outlier. I think like Republican support or whatever for Trump has been underpolled every single time. And any time I've been paying attention, he's always getting destroyed in the polls, and then he won one and obviously lost the second time. But I think Biden was supposedly destroying him in the polls too. So it's like these polls are, any poll is only as good as your data set, and I think this is all bullshit. I heard somebody talking about it. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Who's answering these polls? I've never met anybody who's answered. I don't even know anybody who's answered a poll, let alone I've never been asked to answer a poll. You got highly politically motivated people answering polls, and I mean, really, I feel like if you're really doing anything, you don't have time to be answering bullshit phone calls to answer political polls. And they normally ask like a couple thousand people and then extrapolate that to a whole state or the whole United States. So whatever. Take it with a big grain of salt, because I think that's all bullshit. Just like anything else we're dealing with, can't rely on anything. Polls are bullshit, CPI is bullshit, unemployment data is bullshit. It's all bullshit. And honestly, that's a good message to leave off on, I guess, because I'm almost home. Don't believe any of it. It's all bullshit. Just keep doing your thing. And hey, it's Friday tomorrow, so we're heading into the weekend. I'll catch you guys then.